Hey, Internet. Welcome back to Same-ish Different Day, the podcast where we continue the march into madness. I'm Raza Malik, and I'm joined with my Amazeballs co-host, Bailey Nargang. Also featuring the lovely Wine Mom, the arbiter of everything TikTok and YouTube.
Hey, it's Wine Mom.
Bailey here. Gotta drop that reminder that you can find this show on any streaming service you use. Remember to leave a sassy review, and you want to bash us or our opinions generally? Well, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and maybe some other places in the future.
I join these guys weekly to keep their egos in check as we break down complex social issues and talk about why your kids shouldn't be watching family vloggers.
We talk about real-ish on a real level. Ain't got time for the Twitters? Don't worry, we have collectively wasted our existence combing the internet for you.
Also, before these two get carried away, don't be shy. Join our Discord for the inside scoop. You can also support us on Patreon, where you can work your way up our very own class system. And don't worry, it's pay to win.
So welcome back to another episode of Same Shit, Different Day, where we try not to rip each other's heads off.
Let's get it. Welcome to Same-ish Different Day, the podcast with a name that we can't say anymore. This week, we're going to test your commitment to us because we're feeling poopy, all right? 2 out of 3 of us are definitely not in positive spirits. So, pop quiz at the end, you gotta submit in the comments who you think was in the shitty mood. This week, we're talking about... Yeah, it's always me, it seems. This week, we're talking about the state of Twitch and a couple different factors of it. I think they're very interesting questions, and I would like to let Raza summarize where we should start off here. Raza, take it away.
Thank you, Bailey, the podcast master. So more streamers leave Twitch for other platforms like YouTube, for example, Dr. Lupo, Tim, the Tat Man, and Pokemon. Which fun fact about Pokemon, she went to my high school. And there are apparently 2 more streamers that are leaving as at time of recording this. So the question is, are we seeing a shift? Are people going towards a new platform? And since Twitch has changed a lot, like giving big streamers less money along with contracts that are less lucrative, is Twitch becoming a victim of its own success, where the bubble that they have created is about to pop? And the next part of that question is YouTube the better option? Some it may be, and then for others it may not be. For a good example is when 100 Themes member Valkyrie switched to YouTube g- gaming, and because she switched to that, her contract was worth even more, even though she got less viewers. Saying, when I switched over, obviously I signed a contract, so I was like, okay, this is for stability. I can do what I want and not have to worry about the numbers and stuff. If I have one of viewers, I'll be fine. What is causing this mass exodus of streamers going elsewhere?
Okay,
And
so...
let's leave it at that. So just go there, and then I'll go to the next one.
First off, it sounds like her main concern from that statement there, like her main concern is about having a contract.
Mhm.
Like, it sounds like she wants a guaranteed check for her streams, which is also kind of reasonable when you have that much clout, right? When you've already established an audience, I can guarantee I'm going to bring X amount of people on a weekly basis. Then I think that warrants getting a consistent check.
Yes, yeah, 100, because it's a job, right? At that point, and when you want to stream,
So,
consistently. Sorry.
yeah. So, Wine Mom, you could even take that to like your favorite Minecraft streamer of any sort, right? Like, don't you feel that if they have a pull, like if you're part of their community and you're watching on a regular basis, shouldn't they get a consistent paycheck for the amount of people they're bringing to the platform?
I don't know. I feel like every platform has different financial benefits. Like, I feel like Twitch, it's weird to say, Twitch is more of like a gamer community. It's a little bit more like, for lack of a better term, like a cult-ish type gamer community. So like people who are watching these streamers, they go a little bit harder when it comes to games. And I
Mhm.
feel like YouTube is just more of like, it's just more like an everyman content place, if that makes sense. So like I know that doesn't make sense considering we do a podcast here, but it's like um I don't know how to describe it. I feel like what I'm trying to say makes sense. I'm trying to
So
make
Like,
it make sense. But
you're
it's like mm,
you're saying that because it's like a free for all, basically, that there shouldn't be any sort of it's like
okay,
it's a
so
free market kind of.
what I was going to say is that when I'm watching someone on YouTube, even if it's a Minecraft YouTuber, when I'm watching someone on YouTube play games, 9 times out of 10, they play a multitude of different games and they do other content. So if I'm going to use someone, for example, let's say Markiplier, for instance, because it's the easiest one for me to go to, right? He does games and he also has a YouTube Red series that he did. He also just does regular videos. He does food review videos, a multitude of different things there. So if I'm going to watch Markiplier stream, I'm more inclined to watch his streams on YouTube because that's where all of his content sits. He makes video formatted content.
Yeah.
Whereas people who stream exclusively stream. So you're sitting with these guys
Mm.
for sometimes 8+ hours. So it really just depends on like if you're watching a multitude of different content or if you're looking to like watch the same guy play the same game for the same 8 hours every day. So it's easier to keep that contained to somewhere like Twitch versus on YouTube
Yeah,
because
I
on
think
because on YouTube, like it's so easy for you to be like, okay, I've already watched 45 minutes of this stream, and but like look at all these suggested videos over here that I could watch of this content creator. So it's just more of a bounce around platform. It's not
Like,
solely to focus on a stream. Whereas when you're on Twitch, you're not going to bounce from stream to stream to stream to stream. You're going to watch one streamer completely.
I
we're
think
like, sorry.
I think that's an excellent point you brought up there, just because it's the as the platforms develop, if I have a poppin' audience on Facebook or I have a poppin' audience on TikTok, why not just stream straight to TikTok rather than to Twitch? Right?
Right.
I know that's an exaggeration, but very realistically, it could be that accessible in the next few years, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
I just think it just makes more sense if you're doing a multitude of different content to keep streaming on the site where you're doing your multitude of different content. So like
yeah.
Markiplier does a bunch of different videos. It makes sense for him to like because this is a common trend you see amongst YouTubers. They post like an hour long video of a game that they played, right? So for instance, let's say he played Resident Evil. He did one video for like his scary video series that he did. It would then make sense for him because I know he's done this in the past to say if you like this video, give it all these likes and then I'll stream play it. And so then he'll stream the game for, 7 hours and play it. Whereas on Twitch, it's not like that. It's like you're opening up this game, and if your viewers are like, "This game sucks. I don't like this," you got to switch games. You got to do whatever you
Yeah.
got to do. It's more pandery, whereas YouTube is like you're getting what you're getting from the
And
YouTuber.
and
Mhm.
plus, it's like when I was like doing the research for this, like sorry, YouTube is a great place for VOD. So like you can go back, like you can still like access the the content, the creators back catalog too. Uh,
Right.
Mhm.
and Twitch it sort of like limits that. So like you're not able to do um certain things on Twitch. Like the reason why I think YouTube is up and coming is because it offers things that Twitch doesn't. It offers from again, I don't know if this is true, but like YouTube gives some sort of degree of freedom of control, whereas Twitch you have to sort of like play within their TOS, and if you find a loophole, good for you. That's a dub, but it'll be patched up pretty quickly. So, uh, I just think that both services have stuff that like uh uh they can offer and they can excel at, but for like longevity and for like sustainability, I don't. That's where it gets kind of murky.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm going to tell you right now the massive difference between the two platforms, other than what I just described, right? The massive difference is YouTube has ad revenue, right? Now, Twitch does, I
Mm-hmm.
get it, but the ad revenue is different. So on Twitch, your main source of income are your viewership. You need subscribers, you need followers, you need donations, you like you need that community in order to remain successful,
Yeah.
right? Whereas when you go to YouTube, as long as you have people watching your videos to some degree, then you're going to be fine. But
Mm.
not only that, you get the depending on the creator, right? So like someone like Pokemon or Valkyrie who've gone from Twitch and they've moved to YouTube, right? Like you said,
Mhm.
what works for them is the contract, but it works why? Because YouTube then has a vested interest in promoting their content on other people's recommended feeds.
Right.
So whereas Twitch, they do that with some of their bigger creators, but that's pretty rare, and Twitch is more of like a you build the community you build on. I mean, we've seen all the issues with the hot tub stream, so that's a different thing, but it's just on YouTube you kind of stand more of a chance, and if you have a contract you're going to get promoted more, you're going to
Yeah.
get more opportunities. And with YouTube, like everybody's people can say what they want, but when you come home after work you put YouTube on, and a lot of times people just let it autoplay,
No,
so you're
bro.
just watching whatever's coming up.
Mhm.
That so YouTube, from my PR knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
I was reading the reports this year. YouTube is up 30% in viewership of people aged 35 to 65. So even the boomers now, rather than
Mm-hmm.
watch cable, they come
Even
home
Bible.
and they watch YouTube, which is fucking wild to see that change. Because once they shift, then it's like, then that rest of that audience is done. There's no more cable. Everyone just watches YouTube.
Was that stat in 2020?
2021.
Okay,
2021.
So,
so go
sorry.
ahead.
So could the pandemic play a role in that? Maybe.
Viably, but if you're already a committed cable viewer, why wouldn't you just continue your viewing habits?
Very good point.
So what was the age bracket that you just said, Bailey? I want to hear you repeat
35 to
that.
65.
Okay, so if we're saying 35, right? If you think about it, you said within the last 5 years or within the last year?
Year.
If you think about it, like someone who's 35, right? They probably have young children. So when you're 35, you could have children between the ages of like 15, depending on when you had children, to as young as like 5, right? Maybe even younger. Obviously, a year old, you can have kids at any time. But if you think of it that way, like the kids are watching these videos and probably saying to their parents, like, oh, look at this YouTube channel or look at this YouTube video I watched. And so
Mm.
now the older generation, they're starting to see, like, it's funny because my grandmother was watching a documentary about a guy who does these really cool paintings by putting them on this custom built machine that spins them, and then he just like swings a pendulum of paint over the paintings. He's very well known, super popular guy. I don't really know much about him, but super cool guy. My grandmother watched some documentary about him on cable one time, and she was so obsessed with him. And then she told me she was so upset because she wanted to see his other videos and his other content, but she didn't know where to find it. So now my 70 something year old grandmother, she's watching YouTube because that's where the content is for her. So
Mhm.
it's like it's the natural progression. Whereas before, old people wanted to watch a show they really liked, what would they go and do? They would go out and either purchase a channel where that would be all the time on that channel on TV, or they would do what? Buy the DVD set. So now they don't have to do that anymore. You can go on places like Netflix or YouTube and find an abundance of it. For myself, I really like Bob Ross. I'm not buying the DVD. I'm watching it on YouTube because it's there. It's sometimes there's live streams, there's tons of content of Bob Ross to watch on YouTube. So it's like it just makes sense for people to navigate to that place. I don't even use cable. I have not used cable in easy, I don't know, 7 years at this point.
Yeah, we don't have my household. We don't even
No.
have that.
I haven't had cable since I moved out when I was 18. But this is
Like-
also where I think your point about having the centralized media is like severely important. Because not just for old people and the older audiences, I think in general, people who aren't necessarily the most tech savvy, when they get into an influencer, they're going to be committed to the platforms that that influencer uses. So I
Right.
say, as your grandma finds out this guy, she's not necessarily going to download Twitch if he's already putting his live streams to YouTube. So what's the point?
Right.
I think
Well,
that
this is
is
it.
a really critical point that to tie those together.
So, so the last point to this point, and then we'll go on to the next one. Is do you know? I'm surprised that I know him, but do you guys know who Disguised Toast is?
Toast?
I've read it before, but I don't know who
No.
he is.
He used to be a big Twitch streamer. He left Twitch, and now he's making he's coming back apparently. He even came out and said, you should never begin streaming your streaming career by making a Twitch account and just starting to stream, because you will not get any viewers. You guys know how bad the Twitch discovery system is. So I looked into that, and apparently I don't know if I can say this, but Twitch does kind of play favoritism with certain channels.
100% it does.
I don't. Okay, so like that, I think, and I think it's kind of alluding to that. So like, unless Twitch can fix that, it's going to cause more and more people who want to stream to go elsewhere.
Well, I think it's important to so like, not to talk about our own tech strategy or what we're doing with our own show, but the reality is like, we stream on Twitch because it's a streaming platform that a lot of people use, and there's categories that people browse, and it makes sense. The way that it's integrated into other systems, it makes sense. But you don't put all of your eggs in one basket. You use other platforms, so you got to be on places like Twitch, like TikTok, where it's short form algorithm, and you can get seen pretty easily. You want to have some of your stuff on Instagram Reels and on feeds, and then you also want to have. And this is something that I feel like every streamer. I feel like there's a group of streamers that are successful but not very well known, and the reason why they are is because they stream on Twitch regularly, very regularly, and then they take their long format content and they cut it up into segments and then they post it on YouTube. Because there's tons of Twitch streamers that I watch on YouTube, but I watch them on YouTube because they take their long format content with all of the viewer comments that I don't give a shit about, and they make it into a smaller format where I can like follow one story from a huge segment, and it works. It's just, you have to stretch yourself across other platforms. And the reason why Twitch is so good is because you can just do a big long platform. You can have this platform and do a big long stream, and then you can cut it up and put it on other places.
Oh yeah, 100%,
I concur
You
with
know?
that. If I could back off that and go on my high horse, is like that's a big thing that frustrates the shit out of me with all these Twitch streamers complaining. I just don't think they're applying an effective enough media strategy. Like, going off of what you said here, I think a lot of them want to just stream and continue doing the one thing that they're used to and the one thing that they're good at.
Yeah.
But especially when you're a media developer, no matter what, you're always going to have to adapt in some form or fashion. So it is unfortunate. I accept that they became successful doing that particular format, but maybe part of it is analyzing how you should change your footing within the media realm.
Well, I mean, you have to be willing to grow, because this is the thing. It's like have found so many content creators, and I'm gonna just say it straight up. Most of the content creators that I have stumbled upon weren't even from their main platforms. It's from Twitter. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this platform where this person is posting, maybe a snippet of one of their videos or a picture or a screenshot, or they're having a conversation, or they're in hot topics and they're like being engaging on Twitter. It's like you have to reach out to different types of audiences and put yourself out there. At one point in time, it was possible, because Twitch was so popular and new, it was possible to just start a Twitch account and just stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
But it's like, people are not going to be able to find you if you aren't super fucking popular and everybody's talking about your content and resharing, and if your audience is resharing and reposting your clips and fan paging you, you're not going to get found just streaming on Twitch, you know. And it's like, also with the knowledge that whatever people want to say, all forms of business, especially in platforms like media platforms, they play favorites. They obviously do, because what's going to make them money? Playing favorites.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, being willing to, I truly believe having a Twitch and having a YouTube should be mutually exclusive. Like, if you really want to be popular on Twitch, you got to have a YouTube channel, because you have to have an additional place to put
Mm-hmm.
your content. It's the only thing that makes sense to me anyway.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I
Go.
do agree with what you both are saying wholeheartedly, but at the same time, we're looking at this through our expertise of a lens, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we know uh we know what to do. The average Jimmy or Timmy out there doesn't even understand that, oh, we need to have our feet or our toes in everything, all right? They just assume streaming is the one thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how you're gonna make it. So yeah, so like I do agree, but like we know this, like we have been in the industry, we see this, but it's just something that like the average viewer won't understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just feel like people have to stop pigeonholing themselves and then being mad when they don't get successful from that.
Hmm.
Especially because, like, from what we do, like, I've seen Bailey, he is putting our content everywhere on anything
Yeah.
that anytime we say, "Hey Bailey, you should put a video on this website," he's like, "All
Okay.
right, more work, I'll do it." Because it's like, you have to have an understanding that the wider audience you can reach, the better it's going to be. Because this is the thing with media, because of the way that certain creators are lucky enough. Because this is the thing, it's not that they're not good or that they are particularly good. It's luck that certain creators blow up on one website relatively quickly, because it all takes a certain formula for that to happen, which is
Yeah.
why TikTok is what it is. Because TikTok is a very specific formula, and the only reason why creators got wildly crazy popular is because we weren't doing anything else but sitting on our phones watching TikTok. So it was easy to, like, fall into them on one platform, right? But it's
Yep.
like, if you're new and you're really wanting to get out there, like, you have to stretch yourself everywhere, because you got to meet a wide range of audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I know.
I do
Yeah,
concur. That's I don't want to sidetrack on it too long, but TikTok, I think that a lot. Watching all the people who blew up on TikTok, like, what are these humans gonna do with their future?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right?
Well,
Well,
this is
Cool,
why a
cool. You're
big
a TikTok
number.
chef. You're a TikTok chef. What happens in 5 years when there's a new app out?
Well, here's the thing though. I feel, even like a TikTok chef, I feel like they have a good chance. But these people who do random dancing videos, what are you going to do next? It's the truth, though, because what are you going to do? Because we've watched this happen with another content creator who all she did was dance videos. She got popular. She got offered a job to be we've talked about this on one of our episodes. I cannot remember her name. I also don't give a shit. But she got popular enough that she was offered to be like a host on an award show. And it got taken away from her after she boasted about it online because she's not a journalist. She doesn't have a journalist background. Why is she interviewing people when she doesn't even know what she's doing, right? And it's like, these are very, was it Addison Rae?
I think
yeah. Anyways, I just feel like people see that and they think, oh wow, if I just do this dancing video, like I'm gonna get very popular. But it's like none of her content was original. She was unoriginal in every degree, and then she got butthurt when everybody called her out for it, and then lost her opportunity. And she was like, "It's all your guys' fault." No, honey, get it, do something with your life. Yeah. Because, and I'm going to say this, and I know this is going to sound very weird and out of pocket, but let's talk about Meg the Stallion for a second, who has a $1 billion career making music and still graduated college. Yeah. Okay? She still went to school and graduated college. Now, people can say what they want about Meg, but she is a badass. Mm-hmm. She took her career seriously and her education seriously. And it's like people who are lucky enough to have some sort of popularity on TikTok, y'all should still be taking your career seriously outside of TikTok.
Honestly, like I was even thinking about this. I was like, what happens when TikTok goes under? What happens?
Right.
Because Tencent, TikTok's parent company, is being stopped from updating and promoting it because the country it's established in, the government is telling it to stop. So what happens when that entire, when you put all of your eggs in one basket and that basket breaks, right?
Right.
So and that's why I feel confident and safe with specifically what we're doing. If TikTok goes under, we have YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. We have Instagram. We have all these other avenues to make some sort of revenue, right? But it's just like Charlie D'Amelio. What happens when she turns 30? What happens after that?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like her show, the Charlie D'Amelio show, that's not sustainable because people want the next thing.
And here's another thing with that as well is like a lot of these kids, they're getting these like series like Keeping Up with the Kardashians style series on places like Snapchat and Instagram, like in small formats. We've seen, I don't even know if you guys even know who this is. Nikita Dragon had one. Bad Baby, you know, that rapper Catch Me Outside, she had one. And like it's very popular. You know, the Ace family, they have one. So it's like these are things that these young stars are like looking to have, and it's like, what are you going to do when you have that and suddenly you become so boring because all it is talking about you going to the ranch and buying expensive food and arguing with other TikTok stars. Like we're going to get bored of it. Mm-hmm. It may be popular for like the first season, but after that, like I don't care.
Yeah, like and the kids that they're appealing to are gonna grow up and they're gonna move on out of that, and the next generation will be like, who are these boomers, right? They won't care. So like it's just like you have to look at how to make your career sustainable if you're doing it that way.
Well, it's like, and teaching these kids what to do with the money they make is another thing, because it's like, you know, I've watched a lot of young YouTubers turn into adults, and I've seen what they've done with their money and what they've done with their careers and how they've chosen to invest in other things besides just the main form of content that they do. And it's like a lot, like there's this one kid who's been making fish content for years, like fish videos on YouTube. He has a farm and does all this stuff. And in one of his recent videos, he was talking about like investment properties and equity, literally talking about equity. And I was like, no kid is going to understand what he's saying, but they're going to care. You know why? Because this young kid who's now older and cool and has all this money in this life, and he's talking about equity, and these kids are going to want to understand and learn that. And it's like, these are the things that need to be being looked in, because I don't know shit about equity. Like that stuff wasn't taught to us. And it's like, these kids just think fast money, fast money, fast money, popularity, Jake Paul, Logan,
Yeah.
getting on YouTube drama channels, you know, Addison Rae getting a job as a journalist with no journalistic history whatsoever. Like,
Mhm.
it's not realistic.
And it like and it's kind of interesting that let's bring him up because we're already in this
Hmm.
now. Keemstar, how he managed to stay up for a 40-year-old man managed to like it's weird, but how he was able to stay on top of it all for this long without like having any sort
Having
of
to have any talent and or career.
exactly have like or like any sort of contribution
Yeah.
to the industry.
Very
Or-
creepily living off teens. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Yeah.
Well, because that's another case of someone not wanting to adapt. He's sitting there, oh, drama alert doesn't work anymore. Oh, the way that YouTube used to work is dead. It's like, no, maybe you just make drama about children and nobody wants to watch it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
We should call child services on him maybe.
It's idiotic. That one really, Keemstar specifically, is like, no, bro, maybe you need to self-reflect a little bit and not blame it on the audience.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, even so, I just heard recently Philip DeFranco is his show's not going to be anymore either.
Oh, really?
And that's
Wow.
huge considering he covers politics and stuff. Yeah, apparently there's going to be some shift. I mean, he's been talking about for years. Phil has always wanted to have a network like the Young Turks. He's always wanted that. So that's probably where his next step is going.
Well, it's smart
But-
though because that's hella lucrative now.
Right. But it's also a very big deal for Phil to step back and no longer be the face of that show because he's been doing it since he was like 20.
Yeah.
Right. And he's now a father of 2 kids, married with a $1 billion business, making YouTube videos. And it's like he covers a multitude of content, not just drama stuff. So to think that even he's like, okay, I got to rethink my strategy when politics there's always something to talk about it's a big deal.
Well,
But
even Ethan successfully transferred to that, so he's probably watching H3 become a fucking news company somehow and going like, I need to get in on this.
Right.
I don't let's not talk about Ethan, but let's talk about Philip DeFranco. Like I think he's a little like he's like he's trying to get ahead before the crash happened, and there is going to be a crash, and we are good. Thankfully enough, like from our content, Marching into Madness will be able to avoid the crash because of how what we talk about and the content that we put out. As long as you don't pigeonhole yourself to one thing like Keemstar does, then
Right.
you have a higher chance of making it out of this. And it goes to show like the Philip DeFranco, Smosh. That's another one, but like it's all about adaptability. It's like in every other industry, you just have to learn to adapt and be consistent. Like that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and like being able to look at your content in a transformative way instead of being like, this is all I know how to do. I can't do anything else. Yeah.
Didn't you learn anything in the last 10 years of making content? Didn't you
Exactly.
learn like the world changes like every year? People don't want the same damn thing.
Exactly. I mean, I can think of quite a few YouTubers who I've watched start making what was popular content at the time and then slowly finding their own format of content and making it better. And it's just like it's okay to come in the game doing what everybody else is doing, but then you need to find your place. You need to start finding your niche. You can only do trends for so long before it's like, okay, so you're just like a trend person.
Yeah. Well, again, to toot our own horn, that's why it's like take the low and slow method, like find our thing, make it ours, rather than just like, we could just hop on and let's do a tea podcast. All right, let's talk about the latest news on Twitter. Right?
Mhm.
Right, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
only that, when you guys started doing this show, it was just the two of you talking
Mhm.
about news and,
Mhm.
for lack of a better term, boy stuff, right? And you guys both, but you guys both said to yourselves, okay, what can we do to like add something or change it or like challenge ourselves? And it's
Mhm.
like you guys talk about topics that I'm interested in and I talk about topics that you guys are interested in, but I really like some episodes I put you guys in a place where you're like, I have no idea what's going on. But you guys still try, you know? And like you guys are doing research and learning things and remembering things that I'm telling you about, stuff that doesn't even cross your mind on a regular basis. So it's like, yes, you're doing content that is like good content for everyone to see, but you're also challenging yourselves to do something or look at something that could
Yeah.
maybe
Mhm.
fail or maybe make you look stupid. But
Mhm.
it's about the ability to be like, okay, well, we can't literally just do the exact same gameplay, talk about news video forever. We have to
Mhm.
like start looking at maybe pop culture things or other media things that you wouldn't think to look at,
Mhm.
you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
Bailey and I started this out. It was just like, hey, what can we do that's not that is it has been done, but it isn't like to a wide market. And like the everybody does a podcast, but we're figuring out like, hey, if we just do it in a different way, the same format, but we present it in a different way, that works, and it does work because we're seeing our numbers show us that it's
Mhm.
working now. So like for us, I have faith that like, hey, this is gonna take off, or it kind of is taking off.
Mhm.
But like, as long as we stay like consistent to like what we want, and like again, go with the trends. Don't be unresistant to anything, right? Because
Mhm.
Yeah.
if you're gonna get it's because survival of the fittest. That's what it comes
Yes.
Yep.
down to at the end of
Adapt or die, bro. Adapt or
it.
die.
Yeah.
And Team
But
Star,
I mean, right, but also being willing to like try new things and challenge yourselves, especially when you're a new content creator, because I feel like this is a place where new content creators fail. And then you do a trend and you stay on trend and you only do trendy things, and then you become a popular YouTuber, and then you're like, "Oh man, I kind of want to do something like kind of fun." And then you find that that video fails or it's not content that you enjoy, and then you regret doing that. And it's like,
oh,
take advantage of the time you have now to just like don't be so predictable.
mhm,
Like
yeah,
have fun with your content and like don't make people think it's always going to be the same thing all the time. Like use your opportunity to explore and maybe find your niche,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
you know, enjoy the process.
100%. And it's just
Hmm.
like, it's, and like you're always learning new
Yeah.
things about the whole social media or like the whole content creating in
Hmm.
industry, and it's always gonna make you think that, oh, what I'm doing here, maybe I should, try something else, because nothing is going to be concrete. I'm going to tell you this now. What we're
Hmm.
doing here is this podcast may change in like in a month because we
Yeah.
don't like
Yep.
how it is. So like I'm comfortable with adapting or like changing up as much as it can, but don't change to the point where you lose your
Mhm.
entire point, right?
Yeah.
What Bailey is putting, he's hammering in that in my head every time I tell him a new idea. I was like, what does that have to do with
Yeah. But it's the truth. Like don't stay stale, but also like find a formula that works for you and then play within that, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Get
exactly.
creative with what works.
Yeah.
Because you can do so much within a formula. Really, you can.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Other people can take the formula and turn it on its head and make it
Mm-hmm.
more accessible, which is I hope is something we do. We
Right.
hope we disrupt the podcast game.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's gonna
What?
happen. On the same note as us saying that shit is like I wonder if sometimes the kiddos or new people getting into it, because there are still the fantasy tales. I think a lot of people are naive to the amount of work you gotta put in to build it. They hop in going like, I'll stream to Twitch for a year, and then I'll do this, I'll do that, and bingo, I got a living. And it's like, oh, you gotta prepare to not make money, my friend.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the biggest thing, is that you have to be willing to not make money for a while. Yeah, and understand that it's not overnight success, and sometimes it's embarrassing and sometimes it's hard, but if you know what is in your heart, what you're trying to do, like, just go for it.
Yeah.
And another thing too that I think is also a big thing is, and this is my own personal opinion, but hustle culture of like making people think that you need to be doing like 60 different hustles in order to be successful. No. If you work a full-time job and you stream on the weekends and you get, that's your way of building up, getting popular, there's nothing wrong with that. No shame in your game. Like, that's a hustle alone. So if that's what you need to do until you make enough money that you can start taking an extra day off work and streaming 3 days a week, like, slow go, bro. Take your time. Like, figure out what works. Like, there's no reason for you to kill yourself with a hustle game.
Yeah, yeah, on top of that, this hustle economy thing, like, for some reason, this notion that we have to, for lack of a better word, kill ourselves to make dough, right?
Yeah.
Is such a dumb concept, right? Because at that point you're just like, oh, to me, you're not hustling. You're just a slave to capitalism.
Yeah.
Right?
In another format, in a self-inflicted way.
Exactly. Like, you're so brainwashed to think that, rise and grind, the hustle, don't sleep. Like, no, you're actually making yourself live shorter because you're stressed out all the time. Right? So that's why, like, I don't, like, if you're watching stream, people watching this, hustle economy is not real. Has low reward, high risk. That's why.
Bro, I don't think you've watched the right gurus. This is called the grind state, #grind state, all right? I'm in my bag, bro. Every morning I wake up at 4:30, I go to the gym, and then I fucking meditate, all right? You ain't even know what a real bag looks like, bro. That's why you're just salty.
Well,
Bailey's joking, but he literally does that.
I know.
Bailey is of hustle culture, but it's a different vibe with him.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
the type of guy to like tweet out the grind, don't sleep, and then go back to sleep.
Yeah.
That's why, because of this topic, though, that's why I stopped talking about it as much. Because I realized I was like contributing to a negative state. Like, although I choose to live that fucking hustly, I got a million things going on, it definitely ain't the most healthy. And then especially as you become more mature, you realize like it's okay to work for someone else. It's like okay to work a job, right? You don't have to be there sitting like, oh, why don't you got to be your own boss, fam. Come on, why don't you got your own income stream? It's like, no, you don't need it. Like, sometimes it's less stressful because you could go to a job and you could leave. You don't have to live my life where I'm stressed out constantly about how all my media is performing.
Exactly, because like, here's the thing. Not everybody in this world is built to be a business owner and be a hustler. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. Yeah. But there are different personality type tests for a reason, because some of us are meant to not own businesses and be those people, okay? You're just not cut out for it. It's fine. You're not less than. You just hustle different. That's it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree. It's called Sigma.
Anyways, everyone ignore Raza, because working a full-time job is a hustle. I don't care what anyone says. It's a hustle. So if you're doing that and you're successful at that and like you're getting your raise, bro, you're getting your benefits and your paid time off and your holiday vacation, who gives a fuck? Yeah. Who gives? You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks. Fuck it.
Yeah. This my man's. I was with him this week. I can keep it short. Sorry. I was with him this week. He works at a factory. And he was sitting there, he's like a little he just convinced his boss to pay for an Uber to work and back from work. And he was like, oh, well, you know, it ain't that much because, you know, I'm still working at a factory. It's like, bro, most of the people paying car insurance, like you just schemed. Like, that's a good win right there. You're working at a factory
Yeah.
and your boss pays $50 a day to get you to and from work. And he's like, oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, he's paying $50 a day to get you to work. Like, you have your little wins, man. And just because you work in a factory don't mean shit. Like,
Exactly.
It's just like that's like a capitalist thing, making like having to get your boss to be like, hey, like, pay me more money to get to here.
Exactly.
It's a dub.
It's true though. It's like there's other ways to win in the hustle game. You don't have to do it the way that, you know, you hear it sung about or rapped about or whatever these weird pseudo celebrities are doing on social media. Like, that's not real life, bro.
yeah,
Like,
that's
no.
why I make sure I chill with like a diversity of humans, because just like that, what am I supposed to judge the guy who works on an assembly line just because what? Because I'm a digital media creator. I make YouTube videos. I can't associate with the plebeians. It's like, who are you?
Right. Right.
You ain't better than someone just because you make different things, right?
Right.
And if you find a hustle that is like about something that you like and you enjoy doing, that's a bigger win. That's like, that's like living your best life at that point.
Exactly.
You're not killing yourself. You're just doing what you want to do because you said it to yourself. But at the same time, stream, if anybody who's watching this, don't set your bar at a mediocre level, right? You gotta achieve some greatness.
Yeah. I mean, I know what Rod's trying to say, but like, set goals for yourself and accomplish what you can. And if you don't accomplish every single thing you ever set out to do, it doesn't fucking matter. At least you put in the effort. At least you tried. At least you can sit down and say, I only made it this far, but look at all the things that I've accomplished by making it this far.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Like,
is what I would
that's
say
it.
that's what I would say is the good part of TikTok. I've noticed that a lot of like, it's just celebrating learning and trying rather than having to be the best.
A lot of naked people, so I don't know what they're
Anyway, let's move on because we have talked about this very much, and I hope people understand what we were trying to say.
Because we went so deep, I'm just gonna skip the second section. Is that okay, Raza?
God, yeah, because it's disruptive.
Is it Mimi? No, I'm curious.
The second side, we're just gonna talk more about Twitch. You'd like to expand on this?
Oh. But no, goodbye, Twitch.
No. Done. All right. Thank you, Wine Mama, the consortium of decisions here. Mm-hmm. So now we move on to our Reddit section. This one isn't an Am I the Asshole, but it is another serious conundrum. So this one I'm going to try to paraphrase, but either way, the point should be conveyed quite clearly. Okay, so my 25 female, that's me, boyfriend, 26 male, is Punjabi Sikh, and so our relationship is a secret from his family. Does anyone have experience with this? We've been together for just over a year and the relationship is serious, so it can be hurtful, and he still hasn't told his father about me. I, the female, have been committed to understanding this because I totally get it. It's a very divisive thing, and it's his beliefs. He says no one in his family has ever dated a white girl before, and that divorce is not typically heard of. So he's scared to tell them because he has to be 100% sure this is going to work because, like Catholics, the divorce is not an option. Now, we've been dating for almost over a year. And he's talking more about introducing me to his parents. And that makes me nervous considering how serious he conveyed their reaction to be. So his sister has known about us for most of the relationship, doesn't give a hell. And then the longer our relationship goes on, the harder it's been to remain a secret from his side of the family. And it feels almost childish to try to like hide it. Because, you know, I got to park in different driveways. I got to go down the street, around the corner. So does anyone have experience or advice with this kind of situation? TLDR, the boyfriend is Punjabi and can't tell his dad about us yet because I am white.
I'm gonna leave this to you, Raza, to go head
I
first
hate-
because
I think you have to open
I
this,
can't. I
Raza.
can't.
I was gonna. Okay,
It's hard, bro, because I don't think my opinion would be great right now.
like the okay, a bit of a what's the word? The thing before
The calm before the
Preface?
storm.
no, yeah, a preface. The reason why I
Okay.
picked this because I was just like, hey, all of us have dealt with something like this growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
Even me, my okay, so okay. Anyways, I'm blabbering, but
Mhm.
when I was younger, I dealt with it, but over time because my parents, I come from a very liberal, progressive Muslim household, and that's not a common thing to my understanding. So I understand where this person is coming from, because dating, because the parents don't want the kids to be, uh, to participate in Western things.
Mhm.
A very,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very common thing. So I get that. But from experience and from hearing my other Pakistani and Indian friends, the, it's just like what they do. What the common thing is, they ease them into it, depending on the strictness of the parents, right? They ease them
Mhm.
into it, and they're like, "Hey, this is my boyfriend or girlfriend. She so happens to be a different color than us." And like like the adjustment period is like quite long. There may be some resentment, but like it's just like these parents just essentially don't want their kids to become like, or like not become like, just to be, hey, you're letting you're losing our own values. You're letting
Mm.
these Western values overtake what you have been taught, right? So that's what it is, and that's what I gather
Yeah.
from
Mm-hmm.
that. The hiding part, I can't relate to because I've never hidden anything, um, in that sense. But like, is like, well, my parents have been always just like, is Rosa dating such and such? So like, my parents don't get mad about it. They're like, "What are you doing?" They're like,
Right.
this is something that's not part of our thing, our culture and whatever, but we
Mhm.
can't really tell you what to do." So I don't, but I can't I can't be in their shoes
Mhm.
and tell you what
Mm-hmm.
exactly
Right.
is going on.
No, that's fair.
So, okay. So, I think the one opinion that I really have that I hold, um, because I can't really sit here and judge a family for feeling how they feel about their views, I guess their family traditions, like what sort of culture they want their family members to be a part of and grow up in, and I get that.
Mhm.
I think like as a parent, because I feel like I can't speak to the kid. Like he's gonna have to figure out how to have this conversation with his parents where
Yeah.
he's open and honest with them.
Mhm.
That's just gonna have to be how that is. But I think the biggest issue when it comes to cultural differences in relationships and stuff like that is to the parents is the secrecy.
Mhm.
I feel like it's your responsibility to accept your child in all degrees of their lives because the last thing you want is for them to hide something like that. And this is my true crime brain that's coming out right now because I know like I've looked into multiple cases where it's Muslim families and the Muslim boys date white women and there's a lot of secrets and then
Mhm.
something bad happens and the parents don't know anything about it
Mhm.
and that's more dangerous than your kid maybe liking a white girl, you
Yeah.
know? And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I think is very concerning and it's like you don't have to like it, You don't have to agree with it, but you should create an open space for your child, and not just in the sense of a Muslim culture. We're also talking about in an LGBTQ culture. We're talking about in any interracial culture or just relationships in general. I feel like as a parent, it's your responsibility to be like, whoever you like is whoever you like. Please bring them home because you need to know what's going on in your child's life.
Yeah.
And I know that they're a little bit older, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But there are many cases. There are many cases where people have gotten hurt because of secrets.
Yeah.
That's where it's unhealthy. That's where it's unsafe. At some point as a parent, like you got to put your ego aside and say, "Okay, I want to know my child so that I can be aware of what's going on."
Yeah.
And to piggy, sorry, Bailey, I just want to say
No, you're good.
one thing. Yeah, you can- but like 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 the whole thing is what I had this conversation with my my mom. These 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 it like they come over from other countries uh with their cultures and their traditions and that's fine, right? But it's when their child starts to accept the Western values as well as their Eastern ones, then there's no issue there. Is what like because then you're having the best of both worlds. You're still doing what you need to do, but you're also not and not being not like holding yourself back just because one side of your culture is telling you to do it. Now, the Punjabi and Punjabi Sikh people, I gotta also add this, are very like they're kind of hardcore. Like
Yeah.
my mom is Punjabi, but she's somehow a different like type of Punjabi. But like so they are more into their whole practice, their whole like culture, but at the same time, they're they're very open to a lot of stuff that uh Canadians do. So like it just him to and what Wine Mom says, to keep it a secret is doing a lot more damage. So like parents may be accepting. They may not even like be like, okay, if I'm lying, unless you're not doing anything bad, right? So like it's just he needs to like have an actual conversation with
Yeah.
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 Like I used to do shit for my roommates down to like I would have to buy the bacon for him because his dad would check his receipts, and if he saw there was pork on it, he would get cheesed at him. Right? Like
Oh boy.
serious levels of patrolling. And that was like the piece of advice along these lines to agree with the two of you of like, man, if you're living Western values, I understand that maybe you don't want to break like be you don't want to be haram, like you don't want to fucking eat the pork. I get it. But like at the same time, man, if you're embracing Eastern values, where's the line? Now that's where I think talking to this story exactly is like after a year, it's serious dating. I understand that you don't want to come to your family and be like, yo, I've been dating this girl like 2 months, meet her. But you'll be like,
Yeah.
I think at a point you could be like, I am in a committed relationship. I may not want to marry this woman, but like, this is my foot down of like, I want to date in a committed fashion.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
marriage is a very, very serious thing in Pakistani
Yeah.
thing. So like when you bring a girl home, guys, it's with the intent to marry them. The first girl you bring,
Yes.
it's the
No,
intent.
no. Yes, understood.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so like I think that's his fear, but like I think like oh he's gonna marry a white girl. Like no, it's not at all. He's just has a thing. He maybe in a couple years it may not work out. Who knows, right? It isn't nothing is set in stone too. So
Right.
it's just like I like okay, and I do empathize with the boy oh well the girl because
Mhm.
m- my ex barely knows my ex who is also brown and
Mhm.
she hid me also
Mhm.
brown right
Mhm.
So it's just like it, we don't do it to just other cultures. We do it to ourselves too, because dating
Absolutely.
for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
uh, fortunately in Pakistan, we're actually being more open about this, and we're being kind of more progressive. But um, even in India, but dating is a very, for some reason, it's a taboo because you have to marry the person you meet. You have to do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
marriage is such a big deal to us. So I think that's his fear. His parents want to know the intent. I think that's what his whole
Right.
worry comes from.
Which, like, all that stuff I definitely respect and I understand.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, I feel like as a parent of a child, it's your responsibility to be like, is the safety and the bond that I have with my child more important than if they're going to marry this white girl that they're hanging out with?
Yes,
In
yeah.
a Western country where I already know, like, you already know they're
Yeah.
doing all the things you don't want them to do. You brought them to a Western country. It's, you
Exactly.
already know. Don't pretend you don't. But now think about the
Bingo.
safety of your child.
Yes,
Because
like
that's more important,
exact.
especially with the women. Like, that upsets me the most is the fact that, like, the women are not encouraged, but it's almost like you gotta hide it. And it's like women are significantly more at risk of partner, like, abuse, right?
Yeah.
So it's like to have them hide that from daddy because you don't want daddy to be mad is
Mm-hmm.
more detrimental to your child than them being like, I'm dating this white guy who lives down the street. Here's his mom's name and number just in
Mm-hmm.
case. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And the double standardness in my culture
Mm-hmm.
and Punjabi and Sikh and the Indian culture is so astounding. So this boy may have an easier time talking to his parents about dating a white girl
Yeah.
because he's a boy. A
Yeah.
girl, you know what would happen to a girl? Send her back home.
Yeah.
Canada is messing her head up.
Yeah.
She's bringing dishonor to the family name. Now that issue is becoming such a big issue that like my generation of Pakistani and like Indian and like all the people in Southeast Asia are now actually be like, what is going on? You're actually ruining our lives.
Right. Because you're
Because
not going to raise your child like that.
yeah, exactly. Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
if I have one. But it's just like we we put girls on a higher responsible pedestal. Like a boy can, do something heinous. They can, murder somebody. And the mother and father be like, oh no, my son, my boy, don't, don't take my boy away from me. Meanwhile, if a girl does something as date a guy outside of her culture, be like, yeah, we have to like get her married to the next brown boy.
That's
That,
it. It's
oh no,
over.
what do you mean?
Get her on the plane.
And like I've
The
spoken to like many girls. Oh, sorry, Bailey. It's gonna be a
I
run.
was just a tag on. I was just gonna say the amount of girls I knew in high school that would have to come to school and change because of that shit, right?
Yeah.
Yes, my ex
Yeah.
did the same damn thing. Well, no,
Yeah.
yeah, and she went to and this problem makes in our community kids run away from home a lot
Mm-hmm.
because of the pressure
Yeah.
that they have that they have.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, as a white person, obviously, I've talked about this before in other race issues. I feel like it's not my place to have an opinion or really say anything in regards to a culture that I don't know, live in, grow up in, or understand completely.
Hmm.
And that's why I say, like, the main focus for me out of all of this is like, if you want to have your cultural norms, I respect that. But if it comes down to the safety of your child, that changes everything.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That changes everything.
100%.
Even it's like, even in, like, with white people too, it's very common for us to keep secrets based on who we're dating as well. And it's like at some point you have to get over this secrecy thing because the safety of your children is going to be way more important than they're dating the weird guy down the street,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, like and often like the girls like Pakistan like Southeast Asian girls who get like married to guys that they barely know end up w- be the guys they end up with are sorry to say psychotic. They're
Mm.
insane, right? So like,
Mhm.
yeah, your safety is like should be your number one priority, um, for your your child because this is
Well,
like
and like
insane.
you want them to be happy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even if they don't pick the right person in the first time around and that person doesn't happy,
Mhm.
you want them to at least have the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm not happy here, I gotta go. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like
Yeah.
you should want the safety and the happiness of your child over every and anything.
right.
Period.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, regardless of denomination. So I want to make sure I'm
Yeah.
not specifically speaking on Sikh people. Regardless of denomination, like religious people that have that value of like the woman you bring home has to be the one you marry is like that exact problem you brought up is the perplexing one to me. Like, don't you want your child to be better equipped? I understand if you could be like, don't be extra promiscuous because God says that's bad. But like, at least like, shouldn't your child date so that you can have a successful marriage? Like, don't you want them to be equipped for a good marriage?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Educate them, inform them, encourage in the right direction, but allow them to figure it out.
yeah, like we like in Southeast Asian cultures, we have an issue that we baby the boys till they're like 30
Yeah.
or 40 and they don't know what the hell is going on in the dating world because the mother and father are out there looking for girls for the boy and the boy
Hmm.
has no concept about relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why in my culture, like in Pakistan, I there's a huge issue with like I don't know if I can say this, but like abuse, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like because the men there do not understand that women are not a commodity, but they're also
Yeah.
like, you know, people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of my really good girlfriends, she comes from a cultural background that's quite similar where she is a single mom now of a almost 5-year old and her mother still makes comments about the fact that she got divorced.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I
what like would you have rather her stay in that financially abusive as well as everything else
right,
situation
right,
with a
yeah.
4-year-old? Makes no sense.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
constantly throw that in someone's face whenever you like get mad and be like, "Well, you got divorced."
Like,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm living my best life. You have now bills to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, just like yeah, this is like I know for a there I again like the I'm my upbringing is actually closer to your guys' upbringing because like
mhm.
my parents there are people in my family who have gotten divorced and this is like it is a lot of
Mhm.
what it is. So like but I noticed some sort of cultural differences like yeah like divorce is like, a taboo for us but at the same time like we are kind of like understanding of why they're doing it
Mhm.
like yeah like it's you're not happy why do you want to be in a relationship that you're not happy with it's gonna make unhealthy for you
Yeah.
uh so yeah it's like I and like the best part is just yeah if you speak to any of our Maldives for example they'll say look at our marriages look at marriages happening in the Western world people are getting divorced left right in center look at the divorce rate happening in Pakistan or any other Muslim countries, it's low. And then you look into it, be like, the reason why it's low is because it's the woman will get like in
It's
those countries,
illegal basically in other
legal.
terms.
She will get like killed, like her own parents will do
Yeah.
stuff, right? So like it's yeah, divorce rate is low. It's because you're not really allowed to get
Giving a choice.
yeah, like again, these laws are slowly changing at an
Mhm.
iceberg pace because now women and more progressive people, like liberalism, is becoming a thing there. Pakistan is going through their own like awakening for some weird reasoning. Um, but like I always like looked like, oh yeah, I was like was so proud of that. Like, yeah, us Muslims don't get divorced, but like, wait a second. there's a bad message there.
There's an elephant in the room
Yeah.
that we're ignoring.
Yeah, we're ignoring. So
Can't
like,
see him.
but even in our religious texts, I'm pretty sure like there is something there that says you like divorce is acceptable under certain terms. Just like here. Like
Yeah.
under certain terms you can get a
I mean,
divorce. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like you shouldn't stay with someone because you feel like you have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Period. I really don't give a shit of any circumstances. No
100%.
financial circumstance, no time circumstance, no children, no tied properties, no joint bank accounts, nothing should tie
Exactly.
you to a person if you no longer feel safe there.
Once women become empowered in those countries, which they already starting to are, I feel like we're going to see a societal change. We're going to be like,
Yeah.
women are going to actually. The joke part is that divorce rates may skyrocket in like Pakistan,
Yeah.
in India, but people will be happier. People will be living longer. People won't be obsessed with the concept of marriage. They won't be like, oh, we gotta find because like here in Canada, in North America, that's how it was in the 50s and 60s, right? Or even 30s. But
I mean, people are getting married, engaged, left, right, and center here.
yeah,
It
but
happens all the time.
yeah, but like from my experience, it's like people who like each other, I hope.
Yeah, exactly.
But I digress.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. Any last words on your thoughts? One piece of advice for a man who may be shy to tell his parents about his partner. Do we have one piece of advice? Encouragement
do
for
it.
someone nervous.
Just a speech
Just do
beforehand.
it.
Have a PowerPoint presentation.
That sounds about right. I like that. Okay, prepare a PowerPoint. Make sure you've got a lot of religious rhetoric in there. And then, just tie it in. You got to create a philosophical justification.
Oh, 100%.
All right, folks. This was surprisingly, I started this off saying we'd be low energy, but this worked out quite well. We happen to be opinionated people, so even when we are sassy, somehow we tend to get thoughts out about things that are semi-cohesive, if you can believe it or not. So if you are listening to the recorded version of this, we record this live on Twitch. If you hang out with us on Mondays, you can not only listen to the podcast ahead of everyone else as we record it, but you can hang out with us and chat afterwards. Now, we appreciate you guys. We've had a great time. I've had a good time. I don't know about Raza. He looks quite sad all the time, so it's tough to tell.
Wake me up.
Otherwise, we're about to switch to Let's Chat mode. Tune in next week on your podcast platform or here, and you'll hear from us soon.
Thank you again for watching us badly talk about these topics.
You can follow us on Twitch, Marching Into Madness, all one word, no space. On the gram, marching_into_madness, and on Patreon at patreon.com/marchingintomadness. And again, on Le Discord at Marching Into Madness.
Join us, and Bailey will pay you 10 whole Canadian dollars.
You can follow Whitey over at gnarly_media on the Insta. You must definitely follow the life of our whole podcast, Wine Mom, at XWineMomX, because the year's 2002, and we still have the X in our names. And me, your favorite brown boy, at _r.r_malik_.
Thank you for the third time. We love you. Drink some milk and be healthy.
Remember, kids, say no to school and yes to
It's like such bad advice. It's like here we put this well-formulated podcast together with good insight on facts and truth and political points and social issues. Don't go to school, dude.
Oh, God.
Bailey listens to
Motherfucker
me.
shouldn't be near school after saying that.
It's like Bailey listens to me say the sentence and he goes, maybe I should say my sentence now.